How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Halloween from 2018. Not the original Halloween, Halloween the sequel to Halloween. Blumhouse's Halloween, or as I sometimes jokingly refer to this, H4O, because it's very much like H2O in the fact that we're bringing Laurie and Michael back together. But this time, instead of 20 years, it's Halloween 40 years later. This is directed by David Gordon Green, and once again stars Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. You also get Judy Greer and Andi Matichak as the rest of the Strode woman. But also, you get a few scenes in this movie where Michael Myers is once again played by original Michael Myers actor Nick Castle there. So overall, a really cool cast and glad to see them all coming back. There's a few notable producer credits on here. Jason Blum, obviously, because this is the Blumhouse one. But you also get John Carpenter returning to work on the series after a long time away. John Carpenter, after Season of the Witch, wasn't too heavily involved. He would still get credits for based on characters created by John Carpenter, and he would still get credits because they would keep using his soundtrack. But here you get him stepping back in as a producer, and also doing music for this movie with his son, which was pretty cool as well. Another producer, Jamie Lee Curtis, so good to see the actress, getting an upgrade and becoming a producer as well. And there's one more that I really have to talk about, Malek Akkad. Obviously, it's got to be the son of Mustafa Akkad, who was responsible. He's a long-time Halloween producer, but it was really him that got the sequels going after Part 3 again. And this movie is dedicated to him, and that is really nice to see that as well. Now, when this movie came out, there was a lot of buzz, a lot of people talking about it. This movie did pretty well at the box office, I believe, especially, on the R-rated charts. And a lot of people said, this is the best sequel ever. That's even the quote on the back of the box. Hands down, the best Halloween sequel ever, from Katie Walsh from Nerdist. And I can see that. I'm not 100% sure if it is the best sequel ever, but it's definitely in the top third. It's among the better Halloween movies, and I really do like it. Then again, you did get some critics pointing out some flaws, and this is part of the reason why I like to cover older movies better on here, because I feel like it's something that, like the older movies people want to talk about, but they haven't been all dissected to heck, And this new one, it came out, you had all the critics talking about it, and the flaws are pretty much known by this point. Some of the modern humor is a little cringy and doesn't quite work, and then there's a few scenes where you can see the writers kind of going into the story to manipulate things, like one character isn't supposed to have her phone on her, so one of her friends gets mad and throws it into the nacho cheese, which is very much the writer doing that himself. You also get, quite famously, how the psychiatrist plot ends. Has been up for lots and lots of debate, let's just say. But yeah, we all kind of know the flaws, but still, there is a lot to like about this movie. It does a lot right. And obviously it's not as good as the first Halloween, but like I always say, it got a lot further and a lot farther as to getting close to that than a lot of the other sequels do, and this is just really good and epic. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Laurie Strode. This time around, it's a really tough and gritty performance. You see, she's someone who lost her whole life to this and has been obsessed with this. She's a prepper character. She's a survivalist. And you get to see even shots that they recreated from the first movie, but substituted Laurie Strode for Michael Myers, really getting the sense that these two are two big, unstoppable forces that are about to clash, and you're waiting the whole movie to see that happen, And that's big, that's cool. And also, an R rating. That is really good. It's not PG-13, it's not watered down. Now, this isn't extreme hard R stuff. Like, this isn't a Rob Zombie film, but there are still several moments, several cool, gory shots where you're like, that's why this movie's rated R. That shot, and it is really cool they did go for it, you know, and you really needed that. It's not just some modern horror, hey, let's reinvent the classic for a new generation. It is not that, you know. And also, just really good atmosphere and cinematography. You know, you get that fall atmosphere, that's there, that's cool, but you also get the sense of it being dark and late at night. It does really good darks and has them lit really nicely, you know, because that's one of the cool things about real life Halloween is going out super late at night and just walking around the neighborhoods. Man, that was fun. Yeah, it's the epic comeback. It's really, really good, and yeah, one of the best sequels, if not the best. Let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points, as well as make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about. We open up with some true crime podcasters, this British guy and girl, and they're going to reintroduce you to our two leads, Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. They first head off to Smith Grove Sanitarium, and they go talk to Michael Myers. He's turned away, he's chained up, and they try to invoke emotion because he managed to get the actual mask from the first movie. He's like, look, Michael, don't you want to say something? And of course he doesn't. Michael Myers doesn't, you know, play into your hand that easily. One thing I do like, you know, he doesn't have his mask for the first part of this movie, and they do a really good job of showing you just enough of his face, just enough to kind of make you wonder, you know, and just not showing the whole thing. You know, it does that trope of not showing someone's face really, really well, and also, you know, through the rest of the movie, you can actually see him, speaking of hidden things, in the background doing a bunch of stuff. Michael Myers is hidden in the background of this movie so often, and you don't notice him until someone points it out to you later. You're like, oh, wow. You know, so, yeah, a really cool introduction to Michael Myers. He's been in Smith's Grove. He's been quiet. He's not done anything for 40 years. He was apparently really quickly apprehended after the end of the first movie, and Dr. Loomis kept an eye on him until his death, and now you get a new doctor, Dr. Sartain, who was a student of Loomis's and is now watching over him and has an obsession like Sam Loomis had, but kind of in his own way, his own sick fascination with Michael Myers, you know, and it is, you know, a cool setup to the character. You also do get them going to Laurie Strode next. She has a big compound, a big gate, and they have to pay her like $3,000 or she's not gonna even talk to them. And they go, and this is where you get to learn a bit about Laurie Strode. You know, she's had lots of trauma after that night. She's twice divorced, and her kid was taken away from her when the kid was only 12 because of all the crazy stuff that she had her doing, you know. She was, you know, building a crazy Fort Knox house, lots of traps and learning everything and making sure the kid knew how to shoot and how to fight. And Laurie would say, you know, if it means that she survives, then I am okay with whatever sacrifice I had to make. And you really see how hardcore Laurie Strode's character has become. And, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis's performance is one of the best things about this movie. And just seeing how hardcore and grungy and willing to do anything, you know, to the point where she even says at one point that she's been waiting for Michael Myers to escape just so she can kill him, you know. It's a really cool character. Now, after all this, you're waiting for Michael Myers is going to be transferred once again, and that never goes well. So while you're waiting for Michael Myers to be transferred, Laurie Strode knows about this. You know, she knows exactly when and where it's going to happen. And while you're waiting, you get to see Laurie Strode's family, the daughter and now granddaughter, who's going to be, you know, this movie's new final girl. And you get to see the daughter has been trying to push away her upbringing. I need to live a normal life. and the granddaughter just never got any of her grandmother, so she's been curious and wants to bring her back, you know, and you do get that awkward family dinner where she doesn't know what to say or do. And, you know, it is interesting. I wish we got to know the daughter and granddaughter just a little bit better, because, you know, it is what Laurie's fighting for, but we primarily know these through how we know Laurie, and I wish we just got to know them a little bit better, but they're still really cool. But anyway, we obviously get the full transfer, the bus crashes, and you get to see in like a recreation of the first movie where the patients are running around Smith's Grove, you get to see the patients wandering around the street, and of course Michael's gonna kill the first few people he sees. He's gonna go to a garage in a very cool scene, kind of like Halloween 4, and he's gotta kill a mechanic, you know, the Michael Myers rule. Kill a bunch of teenagers and one mechanic every Halloween, you know. So he kills a mechanic, he gets his mask back, and he's headed right back towards Haddonfield, and it becomes a game of get all your characters to Grandma's house, she's got a Fort Knox, and avoid Michael Myers on the creepy Halloween streets, you know. Very, very fun. And let's go ahead and talk a bit about the specifics. The kills, with any slasher movie, you gotta mention them, really plays into the cool R rating. And there's a few really cool kills. A very memorable head-smashing scene. Michael Myers squishes someone beneath his boot. There's a really cool scene where someone winds up impaled on a fence spike. Another one of those good hard R shots there. And hey, Michael Myers even makes someone into a human jack-o'-lantern because he can't let Art the Clown have all the fun, right? So there's a few really cool scenes like this. And also, one thing this movie does that not a lot of other slashers do terribly well, it's the off-screen kill that's revealed later. Usually when you get this, it's like, they cut out the kill and it's just some body like, you know? But here, it's so gory and messed up, you know, like they find some guy, his head's been smashed against the desk, and it is just his jaw's all broken, blood everywhere, and like most of the time, off-screen kills that are revealed later don't work. They work in this movie, and I do want to stress how rare that is, but a lot of the kills are brutal, people fight back, and you see Michael Myers has to really smash someone to get him to stay still, and it is hard and dark, you know, so gotta go for that for a slasher movie. And yeah, really cool atmosphere and cinematography, like I mentioned earlier, those dark nights. There's a really famous long shot in this movie, very similar to Halloween 2's long shot. In fact, there's a girl on the phone in this long shot, like the Halloween 2 one, or, well, a kill that takes place close to that, and I think they're both talking to Sally. That's one of the things with this movie, is this movie has so many Easter eggs and references, they never feel like they're taking over, and there's such fun callbacks to tie the whole franchise together without being just in-your-face Easter eggs, you know. Several names that are mentioned, like Lonnie, who's the little boy that Sam Loomis scared away from the Myers house in the first movie. He's the dad of the new girl's current boyfriend, you know. Little things like that. I talked about the Laurie Strode shot references, you know, but yeah, very much the neighborhood stalking scenes really feel like Halloween 2. The house towards the end feels like a much better version of the house from Halloween 4, and, but yeah, there's just little tiny repeats throughout this movie that really make the whole, you know, thing work really, really well, you know. The ghost is referenced from Halloween 1. The kill where Michael Myers pins someone to the wall is reinvented a little bit here. And yeah, it's just, it rhymes perfectly without being obnoxious, and I really did like that. And, you know, this is the biggest pro, and I've talked about it a few times, but the epic showdown between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, kind of done like H2O, but here, both of them had just become so raw and crazy. You know, now, granted, the fact that this movie is a sequel to the first movie, you know, you feel all this energy, and it feels like the audience knows that there's been 10 movies before this, but really the fact that there's only been one, it's like, okay, 5 people died, and we're leading to this big epic showdown. Granted, that's still a big traumatic event, but it feels like with the epicness of the showdown, that even though they're not canon, it kind of feels like they're acknowledging the past 10 movies and how much of a big epic buildup it is. And boy, does it lead to one final crazy fight. Like I said, kind of like the house from the end of Halloween 4, but so much bigger and better. And a really cool epic, not just the fight, but the way Laurie's planned it out, the way Michael will plow through that, but maybe she's planned out more in the way that both of them aren't gonna go down too easy. This is a really fun movie, and overall, at the end of the movie, I'm like, oh man, what's gonna happen? What are they gonna do for Halloween Kills, So, I'm really looking forward to Halloween Kills. I rewatched this to do the review, but also in preparation. I'm literally, shortly after I record this, going out to watch Halloween Kills, and I'll probably, I post these a little bit later, I'll probably post them back to back one day after the other, and I'm really looking forward to Halloween Kills. I'm hoping it's as good as I want it to be, so I'm definitely going to check that out, and that'll probably be tomorrow's video. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You are really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click there and see more. Should be my Halloween franchise playlist. If you want to see the rest of the movies I've covered, you can see them right there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.